As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff, Booner, and Lucas. It is Wednesday, May 21st, and we are back. We are live.
We are live today.
We are live.
Are we live?
Yesterday was a whole debacle. We are live. That was crazy. First time ever that happening. But it is. It's Wednesday. We got the doc joining. We got NFL rules. All the stuff transpired today, whether stuff got approved or not approved. There's a new award, which we'll get to as well. You know what? I'm fired up about some of the changes here. All right, and I'm actually okay with some of the things that did not get changed. So I'm what?
Can you guys hear the music?
Yeah, I think we've went through this. I
can't hear it. I don't know why.
I don't know.
It's unbelievable.
I love the show. Boone, I love you to death, but there is truly like no filter with you from inner thought to speaking.
Yeah. Well,
can anybody hear the music?
The intro, usually I hear the music, and Jeff's intro. I heard no music, so it was just like a musicless intro, and it was just very odd over here. Felt very
musicless,
very weird. So I tried to play it myself, and I guess I pressed it. I still couldn't hear it.
I'm trying to accommodate this intro. I mean, it was too loud. Now it's what's
I
going
just
on?
couldn't hear it at all. Dude.
Now you can't hear it. I mean, we're fighting through these intros for Boone. I mean,
one day we're not live.
Yeah, we're figuring.
I wish the people could see us just talking and chatting it up there when we're just not live. Like there's an actual show. Like we're talking to hundreds of people and no one's watching.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen again. That was a disaster. It was.
It's on my end though. I got to figure this thing out over here. I don't know what's going on. I'll figure it out though. We'll get there one day.
But when it comes to the Lions, they did one of the rules that they did try and push that we talked about was the playoff seeding. They withdrew the proposal to change the current playoff seeding, so that it was no longer even a thing. They took it away. The whole division winner versus better record, all that stuff. It's gone. So that wasn't even voted on today. So they did withdraw that, which I actually was. I did like it. I did like it. I understood people's pushback for it. You take away the value of a division, but at the same time, it's like you're going to have. When you have a good division, though, it makes it really awkward. So I'm still in favor of maybe in the future that being a consideration. But the other things that did not get approved, the most significant one was what
I would say. Can we talk about that one real quick? You're going to the next one. I would like to comment on that one.
All right,
I appreciate you running the plays down here. I would like to comment on that one. I have a take, and I think I know what's going to happen. I think they withdrew it because the NFL and players, or not players, but front office and coaches went to them and said, hey, we're going to go to an 18-game schedule in a few years. When that happens, this rule will go through as well. So I think it's like kind of a 2-1 over the next few seasons. I think they're going to move to an 18-game schedule. At least that's what it sounded like on Twitter. Some of like the big reporters put out there, and that said, hey, they're looking at to where if they switch it to 18-game schedule, the playoff structure is going to change with that. So I think the Lions knew, hey, it probably isn't going to go through. Speaking with some people saying, hey, in a year or two, we're going to do 18 games. This will be a part of that as well. And the Lions just said, let's not even waste our time on it today. There's other things to handle, and then pulled it back. So I don't think it had anything to do with the Lions. Like, hey, Lions don't want to do it. Teams don't want to do it. I think it was just more so a logistical thing and a timing thing to where they're like, hey, we are going to do this at some point, but it's going to happen when we switch to 18 games.
So dumb. I hate that. I hate the thought of that. I know we've talked about it before, but it just means that divisions are for nothing. Like, I don't see a situation. This year was a one-off. We've hardly seen ever 14-win teams going into the last week of the season playing for a division title. But imagine if the Lions were to win one of the toughest divisions in football in the NFC North with, let's say, 11 games. And it doesn't even have to be the Lions. It could be another team. It could be the Chiefs. And then there's a team in the AFC South or the NFC South this year that comes in second, and they win 12 games because the division was just absolutely terrible. They had a favorable schedule. Why should that team be given a chance over the Detroit Lions. Like, if you win a division, that should mean something, even within itself, because there's always those teams. The Giants won the NFC East at 9-7, ended up winning a Super Bowl. Like, these teams that win divisions are in tough divisions. And even even if they don't win a Super Bowl, we think of like the Marshawn Lynch New Orleans Saints games. Like, the 4 seed, a lot of the times the last team you want to play, the Buccaneers and Philadelphia Eagles not too long ago. So winning a division should always mean something. And if you're going to go to this format, there's literally no point of divisions, in my opinion. Like, if you don't have a division title winner that actually means something, no point in having them. Just like
I'm starting to learn Klotz is an old head. That's what I think.
There's some things that I'm an old head with.
Because I really don't care about the divisions. Like, the only reason right now the NFC North is cool is because of the home game. Outside of that, like, I would rather have 1 to 8 seeding or 1 to 7. It makes no sense, the current format. There's like zero sense. They're the only league in the world that does it the way they do it.
The division is still going to matter. Like, you still win your division, you still will have your home field playoff
championship.
It's not even about the not winning a division. It's the teams that are second in the division that then would have to go on the road to a team like you said.
That's the whole point of winning it. Like, there should be some reward for winning a division. Hosting a playoff game doesn't even have to be the first or the whole time.
What do the NBA teams get for winning their division?
It's a completely different set. There's a game of 7.
What about NHL or baseball?
These are all series. This is one game.
It's tough.
This is one game.
Divisions matter, but the NFL's set up to where every game matters, and with this format, every game will matter. Like, you can't look at your division like, hey, if we go 9-8, we can win this division and go, like, no, dude, you got to go 12-5. You got to go 13-4. Then you can get a playoff game.
I think it's gonna.
At the end of the day, you can go 6-0 in your division and still lose your division. So who cares about divisions? Like, you could beat every team in your division and lose outside of divisional games and still end up being second. And like, to me, it's like divisions in general in any sport. Divisions don't matter anyways. Like, there's no. I think they
create those teams, especially like having a really good wild card team, like that shakes up the whole playoffs. Like, you're just gonna start like the upsets. Like, it's just going to have wild cards. First team moves on, second team moves on. There's a lot of times it doesn't happen every year, but once every 2 years at the bare minimum, there's a team that gets upset in the NFL. Like, especially when you talk about that.
You're still going to have that though.
Not as often. No, you're going to have the one.
Yes, you will. It's the same.
You're going to have it all just straighten out. But
it's one game, like you said, Klotz. There's going to be upsets.
Completely different in how it formats. It will be.
It's just 1 through 7.
The 5 seed this year was the Washington Commanders. Or no, it was the Minnesota Vikings.
It's literally Klotz. It's going to be literally the exact same thing. The 1 seed gets a bye. The 2 plays the 7. The 3 plays the 6. The 4 plays the 5. And it's literally like the upsets will be the exact same, except the teams that actually earn a home game, like the Rams, should have been like a 7 seed, or who was the other team as well? The Bucks. Was it the Bucks this year? The Bucks and the Rams won 10 games. And like, the Rams got a home game. The Rams got a home game.
They killed the Vikings at home, and they gave the Eagles a run.
That's the point. Is the Vikings had a better record, and they have to go play on the road. I'm not arguing this. It's not a good point at the end of the day.
I look at it like this. This is how I'm looking at it. Let's say we cover the Lions, so it's, I guess we have our own perspective. But if let's say we're the Chargers, you look at that division. You have a quarterback like Mahomes, you're not going to win the division often. You're just not. There might be a year where you do it. You're not. But the Chargers could still have a year where they go 12-5 and lose the division. I still think if I'm the Chargers, I want to be rewarded. Even if I have Mahomes in my fucking division and I'll never win it. And you might get, like I said, 1, maybe 2. But Mahomes is going to dominate the division for another decade. It's like, so now you're just going to ask the Chargers to go on the road for a decade? Like, that's bullshit.
Because you like, your reward for having a very good season is, hey, you have a tougher path in the playoffs. That should not be a thing. If you're one of the better teams in the NFL and you have a good season, your reward should be, hey, you have an easier path to get to the championship. It shouldn't be like the Rams. 10 wins or 11, whatever it is, they shouldn't have been rewarded a home game. The Bucks, 10 wins. You shouldn't be rewarded a home game. It should just be the teams who have the best seasons get rewarded the easier path to the playoffs. It's like that in every single league. The NFL should be no different. It's like that every single league. And I'm sure it's going to end up being like that too. I bet you if you went and asked the coaches, GM, they're all like, yeah, it does make sense if you really do break it down. That's why they're probably going to switch it when it goes to 18 games.
I just hate the idea.
And you
of
can
it.
see
I'm
a
not
different
saying
way
it will or won't happen. I'm just saying the idea of it, I don't like.
And there's a lot of people that feel the same way as you. I think it's like, for example, if the Lions were to not win the division, let's say it was implemented this year and they didn't win the division and it came down to some like last game stuff. And we'd be like, well, you got to win your division. I would still be like, they should still host they're still one of the best teams in the NFC. Like you should still host a playoff game. You know what I mean? But
the
again,
Vikings not having a home game that was crazy.
Yeah. And if
the Lions lost
Rams,
that game and didn't get a home game, Lions fans, if you're on Lucas's side, you would have a completely different take on this. Completely different. And that's a guaranteed. Like if we lost that Vikings game and we were sitting there having to go on the road the whole time and we didn't get one home game in Ford Field last year, you guys would be thinking about this completely different right now. And that's a fact. Like, I know that for a fact.
I don't think so. I think it should mean something.
Hindsight, you're saying that, but I know
they got mollywopped at home by a rookie quarterback.
That has nothing to do with it, though. Like it's the fact that they didn't get a home game. It has nothing to do with what the end result was. It's playing at home. If they didn't play at home and they lost to the Vikings, Lions fans would have been complaining and been like, "Why is the seating this way?" That's why part of this rule got submitted, is because Lions and there was other teams around the NFL that went to Detroit and said, hey, this is kind of a weird situation going on. A team shouldn't have 14 wins and going like 14-3. You lose 3 games all season and you having to go on the road in the playoffs. That's ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing of all time.
It happened since 1980. Like
either way, listen, you're giving these caveats. It's the same fact no matter what.
Think about how good growing up, like the Steelers and Ravens, 49ers, Seahawks, all of these great rivalries, they will mean zip. They won't mean anything.
No, they won't. See, that's where you're just so far
because what's on the line?
You still play them 2 games a year.
5 seed. I think
you still play them 2 games a year. You still have a division championship on the line.
Does not mean much at all.
You still have a division championship on the line.
What does that mean now?
All right.
Well, you'd still get the advantage over who's second in the division, but
it's not processing.
I get it. Some people, those people that agree with Klotz, there's a crowd of people that I still think every game would be important, but we can agree to disagree. There's other rules that did not get approved. The big one, the massive one, tush push didn't go through. All right, they needed like 75% of the votes. They did not get it. Lions were one of the teams that voted to keep the tush push. Lions were pro tush push. And if you guys don't remember, I have the clip here of Dan from the owners meeting a couple months ago when he talked about the tush push, and I have the clip here, so I want to play it so people can hear Dan talk about it and hear kind of his perspective on it. This was like a couple months ago, but let's take a listen to Dan on the tush push. Colton Pouncey posted this one.
What do you say on the tush push? Yeah, I'm like, for me, I'm like, hey man, they like Philly obviously is known for this because, you know, they're the ones who've really kind of perfected it and done it, do it over and over. And I'm like, man, good for them. And if you got something, we got to stop it. So, like, to me, leave it in. And, you know, we play them this year. We got to find a way to stop it. And I like that. So, what do you say?
So, I've changed my opinion on this. Because I was after the season, we talked about it, and I was still bitter because I watched the Eagles win a Super Bowl, and I was like, get rid of the tush push. But now that we're in like more May and time's going by, like I completely understand people saying, because the best point you can make is if it's that big of an advantage, why doesn't every team do it? You know, that right there is the mic drop. Because if one team is doing something very, very successfully or very efficiently, you can't ban it. You can't. That's not fair. Now you're just looking around going, let's level the playing field. That's stupid. You know, it's like you're playing sports growing up with some friends and you're like, you can't do that because they're doing something that's working.
So you know making a rule in the middle of a game.
Yeah, like that's where I'm starting to understand. I'm like, I get it. I understand it. Because if every NFL team was doing it and it was just like this cheat code for every team and it's like, oh, it's taking the, you know, it's ridiculous, then I would understand it more. And the injury part of it is probably the biggest point, but there hasn't been a ton of injuries from it. So obviously if someone goes out there and has like a brain injury or something significant, then I think they'll revisit it. But until then, fellas, I've done a complete 180 on it. I'm okay with having the tush push. I am. It's the Eagles have found a way to do it very well, and kudos to them. If the Lions had a play that they did very well, I would be on board with, hey, stop it. This is football, man versus man. Figure it out. So I'm with it. No
180.
problem.
You've done a 180, Jeff.
Yeah.
I got you there.
I was wrong.
I knew what you were trying to say. I'm pro tush push. I'm with it. I don't really. At the end of the day, it's in when Dan said that, I remember when he said that in the league meetings, like, dude, just step up and stop it. And I told you boys, like, there's a reason that Brad, it feels like, is getting guys like Tyreek. And it's not just for the tush push, but it's that interior. And those are plays that you need to stop to win, especially when that's a team in your conference that you need to win to get to a Super Bowl. And I think a lot of guys' mindsets in the league as well, I've heard it a lot, is just stop it. Like, player-wise, like, players are just like, I don't care. I've seen a million old players, former players, new players, current players just be like, hey, like, it's a fair play. There's nothing wrong with it. They found a play that is unstoppable, and other teams try to do it. They can't do it. Bills for an example, Packers for another example. Like, there are teams who cannot perfect it, and they can't figure it out. And guess what? The Eagles aren't going to do it forever, because at some point Jalen Hurts is going to be done. At some point they're not going to have what's his name, Cam Jurgens in there. They might get another center. I know they started it with Jason Kelce, but it's not going to be a thing that they're going to do for the next 30 years. They have a perfect situation with such a massive quarterback and a good running back and a tight end that can push them, and it works, dude. And I don't think you can just ban it. I heard someone today say, like, I think it was Albert Breer had brought it up, and was, hey, if you ban a play like this, it just sets such a bad precedent for the future of different plays. Not even just plays, but like just different rules within football, to where, hey, this team's dominating so much. You can't have that. You can't. And he brought up an example with the Patriots, with Bill Belichick. Like, Bill Belichick had a certain thing that he did with his wide receivers, and no one could stop it. I don't know exactly what it was. Albert Breer didn't break it down, but no one could stop it. And they went into the league meetings and they were trying to ban it. And Bill's like, I'm just very good at teaching this to my wide receivers. And if you guys want to ban this, it's part of the game, right? So it's the same thing with the tush push. Because it gets into, I was thinking about it today, because I thought it was going to get banned. Gets into a weird situation like the DMOT play where, the old line's coming and pushing the running back. That happens every week in the NFL, right? Where, like, you're pushing for a first down and before they blow the whistle for forward motion. So, like, that in the wording of it, that would have became illegal if they pushed it through. No pun intended. So I'm glad that
fair. I think it's fair to be able to do that, my opinion. Like,
yeah,
pushed.
I think you should be able to do that, or you should be able to try and pull, and you should be able to me, it's like fighting through the whistle. Like, you keep going until the whistle's blown. And they were saying, hey, if you start pushing someone, the whistle's going to get blown and plays off. I think that's dumb. I think that would have been a dumb rule. I'm glad the Lions were one of the teams that stepped up and didn't do it. I'm shocked, to be honest, that there were 22 teams that were against it. I know they needed 24 out of the 32 votes, but 22 teams is insane, man. I thought there was a lot more tougher opponents in the NFL.
Soft. It's soft. I don't have much to say after what you guys said. You guys know how I am with these rule changes. I can't stand half the rule changes unless it involves less time with being reviewable plays. Like, the less replays, I'm all for that. But in this case, like the tush push, if you do not want that play in football, I just think it's soft. Tampax, go cry in a corner. Try to do it yourself. I know Jordan Love can't do it, but why don't you just turn the ball and hand it to Josh Jacobs? You can't do it? I don't know. Packers are the main ones that are pushing this. So I'm just happy that they didn't get their way here. And the Lions, they keep doing their thing. Eagles keep doing their thing. Chiefs are going to keep doing their thing. Just stop bitching and moaning about football.
Well, there's a difference of mentality. Like Dan, he said in the interview, he's like, we play them, and I have no problem. Yeah. They have to get through the Eagles, and he says, I have no problem, because he understands.
I think the Lions are the only team that plays the Eagles that voted for it to be.
It's like, yeah, because they want that competitive nature. It's the same thing. It goes both ways. If the Lions had some cheat code play, I don't think, as long as it's in the confines of the NFL rules, then do it. And it's safe. Obviously, you don't want to hurt players, but if it's safe, and so far it's been relatively safe, then yeah, do it.
It would be like the Lions dominating. I would say they just go for it on fourth down a million times and they never get stopped. I guess this is exactly what that is. Actually, never mind.
No,
I was gonna say, and then they'd be like, no more going for it on fourth down. That's banned. You have to punt. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's just such a dumb It sets a bad precedent. By the way, too, I saw in the chat too. I saw on Twitter. Rest in peace, Jim Irsay. It's tough.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Great.
No way. The
Great.
Colts owner?
Yeah.
Great owner. I like Jim
Wow.
Irsay too. I know he had at some points in his life, ups and downs, but dude, I thought he was one of the better owners in the NFL at the end of the day. He was a good dude.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
R.I.P.
I didn't see that.
It happened like right before the show. Actually,
Literally
long ago.
like 7:57. I looked at my phone and Jim Irsay passed away. So
It's terrible.
That's tough, dude. That's a good organization. I've always liked the Colts and Irsay and what they've done.
Well, there was a positive thing that came from today, which I am so fired up.
Oh, yes.
Like I have been. We talked about this on the show probably the last,
year.
Yeah, I mean, not to be that type of guy. Like we've been ahead of this. But this conversation, I mean, the NFL is adding an offensive lineman award.
Come on.
Finally! Thank you.
Oh my gosh, this is the greatest
About
news.
time.
This is the greatest news. The NFL is adding a new annual player award called the Protector of the Year, which will be given to the NFL's best offensive lineman, per Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. This is how it should go. As important, like when you talk about the most important positions in football, offensive line is near the top, and there's no award they can win. It's one of the dumbest things, besides All-Pro, Pro Bowl, but I'm talking an actual positional award. They can't compete for anything.
Yeah.
So now they have an award, which the first thing, I had two thoughts when this first happened. One was Panay probably should have already had one of these things already. And then number two, I feel so bad for all the Hall of Fame offensive linemen that just missed out on this. You know what I mean? Like to look back, like how many could, Lane, how many could he have got? And he still can play, but I'm saying like guys
Smith.
that were like Joe Thomas and these guys, Hall of Fame level offensive linemen. You know what I mean? And that's where I do go, damn, if I'm those guys, I'm like, like you missed it by just a little bit of time for some guys. But Penei Sewell over the next decade, I wonder how it's going to be judged. That's where I'm curious about.
Yeah, because do they do it? Because I would think that. Well, I know the NFL has their own analytics, like advanced analytics, and that's like pressures, quarterback hits, sacks, run, all of that. But like, I wonder if they like work with PFF to get run grades and.
Well, I guess what I read was it's going to be a committee of former offensive linemen that come up with the winner. That come up.
I like that.
I do. There's like a committee of guys that played offensive line that like kind of decide. At least what I've read. Yeah.
Can I throw this out there because I like it, but I would rather it be
because I don't want media voting on that.
I would rather it be maybe coaches, because the thing with the former, and this is where, and you guys I think would agree with me on this, and it makes sense when you have former players. There are a lot of former players who are tight with each other, like even current guys, to where you could have former players. I'm not accusing, like saying, hey, but like there are definitely just in the human nature. Hey, I'm really good friends with this guy. I think he had a good year. Well, no, and without actually saying it, trying to push the narratives for certain guys. Like I'm not saying Jason Kelce would, but Jason Kelce being like Lane Johnson, but Penei Sewell had a better year, and you're just sitting there going, you're in the committee room like, is he saying Lane just because he played with him for so long? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it should be coaches. To be a
committee vote, so there'd have to be like majority Lane.
Yeah, but like imagine like a offensive lineman who had like the best year and isn't close with any of those O linemen, and then the O lineman just vote a guy that was close and they're close with. You know what I'm saying? I would rather coaches do it because coaches would know. And let the head coach.
Dan Campbell, who would he vote for? You know what I mean?
You can't vote for your own team. You can't. So when I was at Saginaw, we would vote for all conference. We would vote for all conference, all defense, all of that. Our coach could, you voted for head coach of the year. You just can't vote for anyone on your team. So it was all natural. It was all,
That's
all
fair.
natural.
But
that's
I
all
love
that should be done.
I think Penei, shit. I mean,
he should have like
he was the number one player under 25, according to PFF in the. So I mean.
got a feeling that Trent Williams is just going to get this one by de facto for the reason that you just brought up, Hefe. Like all these Hall of Fame offensive linemen that haven't got one.
They're
And now
give it to
it's
Trent.
probably going to be Trent's got 1 to 2 years left, not too much longer. And he's still probably going to be pretty damn good. I feel like that's the way it'll go, especially if it's former players that are looking at it from the outside perspective.
I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, Trent Williams, I wouldn't be shocked. Tristan Wirfs,
I wouldn't
Trent
be
Williams,
mad at it either.
Penei Sewell.
I think Panay, and I've been on the app all day today, boys, just waiting for the odds for this to come out. Because as soon as the odds come out, I'm gonna do everything I can and throw something on Penei Sewell. Like I think there's a good chance Penei wins it.
What do you think he comes out initially as? The favorite?
Top 3. I think the favorite would be I'm drawing a blank.
Because they can do any offensive lineman, right? Anything.
Yeah, there's one that I thought of earlier today. I don't know why I can't think of him right now.
It can be any offensive lineman. So
I guess Lane would be up there, right?
yeah, Trent. I think it would be Trent, Lane, Wirfs, and Penei, and then you'd have guys like elite guards, like or maybe centers would probably be.
Do you think? I don't think Trent would win it, to be honest. If I'm being, he was hurt all last year.
They should throw centers in there like Creed Humphreys, Frank,
for sure.
Cam Jurgens.
One every few years, a center wins it. A guard wins it sometimes.
Yeah,
I don't think it should be based off just like, hey, who's the best player. I think like you should take the guards, center, tackles, some type of stat and then taking into account how good are they compared to their peers, and then roll with that. Because I do think there should be sometimes a guard maybe gets one thrown in there. And
like there was that year that Quentin Nelson was going crazy.
Yeah.
Quentin Nelson would have some. Zach Martin would have some.
Yeah, that's another one.
Just like Joe Tooney is up there. Like, who is some great guard? Obviously, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good players. I love it. I love it. You're giving an opportunity for guys that don't win those awards to win the award. So I love it. I think it's great. It's great for the game of football. So center, tackle, Penei Sewell. There you go. Next decade, he's gonna.
Long snappers. Can we get a long snapper award?
Yeah, but I don't think that's how it works.
That's tough.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
I like the effort. Love the effort.
Do you think Giovanni Manu will ever win it?
He's got to find
it's just a matter of when. I think.
Sorry, boys. I just got an NFL notification. I apologize.
Wow, what a notification!
I thought maybe, that's unbelievable. I thought that was like your ringtone for a phone call.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty loud. My fault, fellas.
All right. Well,
kind of pumped
Isaac
me up.
Teslaa, you guys see him on Amon Ross St. Brown's podcast?
Oh yeah,
I did. I didn't watch the full thing yet, but I saw some clips throughout the day.
So I got some clips here I want to play. And he's talking. He's super down to earth, and I love that Amon Ra reached out to him right away. Great teammate. He's obviously been welcomed into that wide receiver room. But here's some clips. I'm going to play some clips from the podcast itself, and we'll hear from Isaac. First time really hearing a long conversation. It was only 20-something minutes, but hearing him chop it up, get to know it. It's crazy. He's born in 2002. So
he shares the same birthday as Klotzy, February 20, 2002.
That's
goats born on that day.
Crazy on the same exact day.
Babies now. Now we're getting to the
2002. Come on now.
All right, here's White Lightning.
How you been? How was the draft? I mean, how was getting drafted? Rick Grimmer, tell me about it.
I mean, that's a long process right there. I mean, getting drafted, probably the coolest night of my life, I'd say. Getting that call, getting drafted to the team I've been watching since I was a kid.
Right.
I've been rooting on for however long.
That's great.
I mean, surreal feeling, and then obviously to get in the facility, go through mini camp. Now we're starting to do things with y'all, the vets, man. It's exciting stuff. It's very exciting.
I heard I saw an interview Brad was doing. He said when you came to the visit, you had a Lions jersey on.
I had my buddy gave me for Christmas like 6 years ago a custom jersey with my name on the back with my high school number on it. So I wore that to the facility.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd they say?
I think they loved it.
Okay.
I mean, I think maybe it was a little corny, but at the end
of
the day, it did work. At the end of the day, it did work. So
it definitely worked. How you been? How was the draft?
So the hair is incredible. The hair is incredible. I want to see what Isaac Teslaa would look like if he just shaved his head, got like a low taper. low tape or fade. Just the guy from Hudsonville. You know what I mean? Hudsonville, Michigan. I don't know what's going on in Hudsonville, but that hair is incredible. That hair.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like
it's like helmet. Like when you put the helmet, that's the type of haircut you like. Yeah, when I put on this helmet,
I think the flow is there. It looks like hair from the 80s. Like I don't know if that's just I didn't grow up in the 80s.
That's a fair takeaway.
I think it's a fair, That's a fair comp. I think anyone.
I'll say this: I don't have the best hair myself, but like, the man needs to get a fade or something. He needs to get something going with it. I'm just gonna be honest.
Not a fan, bro.
Yeah, you got to give him that fade. Take him to like a Detroit barber. Get him
the
right.
The flow is there, but it looks kind of like I don't know, like the 80s cut really gets to me a little bit.
It's the mullet. Everyone has a mullet now. Especially mullets are in, dude. I mean,
never been a fan of the mullet's been brought back.
I think this age mullet though, you need to have like a fade or something. I don't think you can just have like
gotta have a little sauce with it, dude, because if not, it just looks trashy, greasy. Gotta like at least just have some class with it. Like, don't just be one of those dirty dudes rocking them, which he's not. I'm not really gonna. I could care less what type of haircut the man has, but I respect the dedication to the cut that he's given it. So
he's letting that thing grow. That's for sure.
Yeah, he also talked about.
Sick.
No, go on.
I just think it's sick that the man grew up a Detroit Lions fan. Like I couldn't imagine.
Well, he knew the division, which apparently, a lot of rookies come in, they don't really know the division. Like a division they're in, which is I can see that. It's not like we cover the Lions. We know we have to know every division, all the teams, what's going on. Guys just play football. They come in, they're like, "What's going on?" I'm in the AFC South. It's like, what? They know teams more than the divisions, but he did know the divisions, and he knows who he hates in the division. So let's listen to Isaac Teslaa on that.
Lions, Bears, Vikings, Packers.
There we go. Okay.
Packers week 1.
Yeah, type shit.
So you hate the Packers, probably?
I hate the Packers.
Is that the worst?
Burning passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a Packers guy.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean, they're my first girlfriend.
You're a Packers guy now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you mean? Like,
yeah, we don't like the Packers. I mean, he's already when he came to Detroit, he was already a Lion, so like he already knows.
But what are the odds of getting drafted by your home team, favorite team?
I mean, 1-32, I think.
Yeah. At 1-32.
1-32,
I guess. Yeah, you're right. You got me.
But to think that you're actually on your favorite team is crazy. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Lions, Bears.
Okay,
that's so funny, dude.
The 1-32 comments, crazy work. I mean, that was.
Hey, EQ said, scratch his head like, "Yep, okay, you got me."
We've all had those moments where in your head it sounds like super. You're like, "Dang, how are the chances you go to your hometown team?" He's like 1-32. Shit. I mean, yeah, you're that type of guy. Definitely smart. Definitely a smart guy.
1-32. It's crazy work.
Oh, you're a Packers guy?
Yeah, you're a Packers guy. He hates the Packers. He knows the division. Came to the interview in a Lions jersey, which is crazy. That takes a lot of balls. He even said it might have been a little corny, but they loved it. I was like, that takes balls to go and do an interview with a team that's your hometown.
That is
wearing a
crazy.
Jersey. Like that's like, okay, this dude wants to be a Lion, which has got to be a good thing too. At the same time, you know what I mean? They probably look
for sure
as a positive, but. It's like I'm excited to see the guy play football. I think the preseason, we kind of talked about it yesterday. I'm excited to see him out there running routes, making plays. But as far as like big picture, I don't really know what to make of him his rookie year. That's the only thing I'm still ironing out. I don't know like what are fair expectations, I guess, like for a dude like this. You drafted in the 3rd round, but he's coming into a situation where he has a vet starting ahead of him who is injury prone and has been injury prone. He's a very good receiver. So there's a chance he could play. But I don't know how to even really judge his rookie year. I guess that's what I'm struggling with still. You obviously want to see him when he's out there. He looks like he belongs and it's all that's great, but it's like how much of an opportunity will he get? I'm curious about that.
Can we my thought process is this with the rookie, right? Especially someone who is going into this isn't an offense where, there are guys in the 3rd round this year that are going to be asked right away to do more. He's not going to be asked to do a lot. And I think it's one of those situations that could benefit him because if he needed to, I think he could step up and make plays. Like if he really needed to, But the fact that he does it and he's able just to kind of, and I mean, I'll call a spade, sit back and learn and work. Do you know what I mean? Especially behind Tim Patrick, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jamison Williams, just to sit back and be like, okay, how do these guys approach day to day? I'm going to start doing that. And obviously, like a lot of these guys, like Jamo, how long did it take Jamo to kind of get inundated into this offense?
3 years.
Right? It took him a while. And it was like he had to kind of go through practice. He had to go through the training camps. I know there were some injuries within there. Obviously, the first year,
he's a tough example because he was injured.
But even outside of the suspensions and stuff, like he had some big plays, but there were still moments where people were like, why isn't he getting the ball more? Why isn't this happening? And remember that year one to where when he was fully healthy and he was good to go, people were like, why aren't you getting him more target? Do you guys remember those conversations? Like, but Ben and them sat back and said, hey, like, we're trying to get him a feel for this offense before we throw, what do people call it? Like the trash can or the kitchen sink. That's what it is. The kitchen sink at him.
Trash can.
And I think that's the trash can. But I think it's a similar situation with Isaac Teslaa, and even more so because when Jamo had that, we needed a wide receiver too at the time. Like Marvin Jones kind of stops playing even before, like you had the DJ Chark, but the next year Marvin Jones steps away from the game and you're like, we need a wide receiver too. So Jamo was forced into like Isaac Teslaa right now. Like there's 3 guys in front of him, potentially 4. Dude, like just learn. And I'm not saying he's not going to produce because I think he still goes out there and he's going to have opportunities. I think a guy's going to go down here or there and he's going to have an opportunity to step up and I think he'll make the plays. So he's going to get catches and the touchdowns and he's going to have those opportunities. But I think like expectation-wise, just take a step back, sit back, let that man develop. Let him learn. Let him get a feel for the game. Did Amon-Ra week 1 his rookie year go out there and dominate? Nope. Did not. It took him, I think it was like week 6 or 7. He finally got that opportunity, but he just learned and learned. So I'm not going to sit here and expect the man to get 600 this year, 700. I'm not. And I'm not going to throw my arms up if a 3rd-round pick in year 1 and an already established offense doesn't get 600, 700 yards.
Yeah, I love what you said, Boone. Love what you said, Hefe. And more importantly, I think the big takeaway and what we should really talk about this is what do you have to say about the Packers? Because they are just a dog shit organization at this point. You had Brett Favre, great. Aaron Rodgers, great. And now you're just this measly little just cornball organization with Jordan Love as your quarterback, Matt LaFleur as your head coach. Rashawn Gary apparently is your defensive stronghold. Good luck with that. He peaked 2-3 years ago. Jay Alexander's cooked. Romeo Dobbs, mid. Jaden Reed, mid. Matthew Golden, I like him, but he's going to be competing against mid guys. They might not even let him have the wide receiver 1 spot. So the Packers, yes. Can't stand the Packers. I talked about their fans being dorks. Outside of Tom Grassi, I think they're probably with the Cowboys, Giants/Jets, just New York fans, Philly fans. Packers fans are right up there for just the most just annoying, despicable fans. Like they could be nice people, but there's just no way I would ever want to share a stadium with Packers fans. So I'm happy that Isaac Teslaa day 1 can get on that same vibe because Packers are probably numero uno, my least favorite teams in the NFL. So I'm glad he feels the same way.
Hey, Ryan says LaFleur said we're the class of the NFC on the Cadam show.
Class my ass. No way.
Well, no, that's a compliment.
Oh, I thought he was talking about the Packers. Well, I agree.
Oh, wait.
I tend to agree.
Wait, was he? I think the way
there's
Ryan
no way that man went on record saying, yeah, the Lions are the class of the NFC. He probably said it about
Ryan. You got to give some context. Is it we?
Yeah, I got to explain that one.
Were the class or we, as in you're talking about Lions? We. Oh, he said Lions. Oh, okay, so there you go.
That's a good thing, right?
Came back down to earth.
I do think that I'll say this. I do think that there are a lot of teams in the NFC North that know Lions are in charge right now. Like we're the team to beat. When you win a division 2 years in a row, there's no I remember after the first year there were still teams and players and coaches poking jabs. I think once you win it a second year and you win 15 games, you got the respect. Like no one can look down and be like, "Yeah, only 2 years." 2 years in a row is, in my opinion, a big deal. Look at the NFC East. They haven't had a back-to-back winner in almost 24 years, 25 years, a long time.
The thing I'll say real quick before we get John on about Isaac, if I had to, if I had to tell you what my final, this is what I'm leaning towards. I think it would be a fair expectation for him. I don't have production. I don't, but what I do have is you want to see him by the end of the year look like the better player, or at least very close to what Tim Patrick is right now. Like, I think if they like him that much, I think that's what you want to see. By the end of the year, he's playing more than Tim Patrick at some point. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what you want. Because I believe, I do. And as much as Isaac obviously played at Arkansas, he didn't have a ton of production, but they really like what he can be. He has all the intangibles, the tangibles, all that stuff. But you want to see him in the NFL. You want to see him by the end of the year. They're like, all right, this dude's our wide receiver 3 for the future. I think year one's fair expectation for a third round pick.
Can we?
Especially if he's not a project, he's not like Broderick or Hendon Hooker. You know what I mean?
No. Can we agree with this?
I think year 2, Giovanni Manu would be a better one. Yeah,
night and day difference from that. Yeah, I agree. I think year 2 is when we could start looking at the production.
Year 2, like
because because if they don't bring a Tim Patrick back, or if they end up, and I think it's going to say a lot at the end of year 1. What they do in free agency with wide receivers. Do they bring Tim back, or do they just roll with Isaac and maybe bring a lower tier guy? And if that happens, that means they feel Isaac's like ready to go, which is positive news. And then that's when I think after year 1 going into year 2, we can start having those conversations on, hey, this is what the numbers need to be, at least in my opinion, for him not to be a bust or to be worth 2/3 and a draft and using the third.
But you know what the unfortunate part of that is? I wouldn't say unfortunate, but I think it's more the reality is I don't even know what would be fair yards in year 2 if J-Mo's still here and Sam Laporta.
400 to 500.
That's I think so. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. But you would know, like this year, you're not going to say, hey, go get us 400, go get us 300. Next year, you're going to go in and say, hey, I understand we have all these weapons, but you need, like, minimum, you're going to need to get us 400 so we know you're producing and you're taking that, like, steps.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, because you're getting 2,000
and if he's sitting at 200, 300
yard guys.
Yeah, if you're sitting at 200-300, then that's why I think in year 2 you write a little question mark next to his name and say, hey, year 3 is big for him. Especially if like J-Mo leaves after his 3rd or 2nd year or something happens like that.
Let's see. AG's
I had something else. Yeah. I don't know. It's so off topic.
AG's burner says, to me, if dude wins a role for you guys, I think Teslaa will be a 30-40 catch dude around 500 yards, 5 TDs. Yeah, I think that's probably
perfect. That's such a good 3rd round pick in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you'll get it. I think this year he'll probably get a couple hundred, maybe 2-3.
Yeah.
Which is that like, but again, the Lions have such a great roster that it's not like Amon-Ra when he was a rookie, where his rookie year you're gonna get like 90 targets. He's just not. You know what I mean?
It's a night and day different team. That's why I said, Jeff, like certain 3rd round picks are expected to do different things on different teams. And Isaac's in a spot to where he's a 3rd round pick, to where I don't know who other wide receivers are with 3rd round picks. There's going to be some that outperform him this year. I'm talking about in this draft. Like there's going to probably be, Trey Harris might have more yards than him this year. That doesn't mean Isaac was a bad pick. That's just, hey, one's in a different situation than the other. One's going to be asked to do more than the other.
Yeah, like Amon-Ra, his rookie year, got 120 targets.
That's so great. And he didn't even really start getting targets.
That wide receiver room was freaking awful. That wide receiver room had freaking Tyrell Williams in it.
I guess week 2. I'm looking at it. Hold on. Let me see something.
So, like, he's not going to get that.
He had 4 targets, 5 targets, 1 target. And then in Chicago was really, it looks like, when things took off for him.
So, yeah, I don't, like, that's not fair to even expect that close to, like, Isaac's, the Lions are stacked everywhere, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, there's not really a year, as much as I would agree, like, 3rd round picks, day 1 impact. I just don't think his impact's going to be as much as, like, Kirby day 1 he had 4 picks his rookie year. Like, they needed him at that point. It's just not the same. Like Jameer, he's like, they drafted all these guys that they needed, and now it's just like you're just kind of taking, for the future, Isaac Teslaa. They don't need. I don't know. Year 1, you're not going to see just
it's an investment.
Yeah.
Vanillatron year 1.
Vanillatron is so crazy. It's so crazy.
Oh, that's funny. They were talking about getting him like a fit and everything. They're like going out. Like, you want to go out? Like, we'll get you a fit.
He took him out Saturday. Saint was like, I'll take you. What are you doing Saturday? You fly out Sunday? He said, I fly out Sunday. He said, Saturday, don't make plans. I'm picking you up. I was like, man, imagine Saint saying that to you. You're going out there like, oh, who knows where we're going to go. He said, do you have a girlfriend? He said, no. He said, that just added so many more things for us to do.
Oh, no, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, if you're in Cali with Amon-Ra, I mean, you gotta go. If he says go out, you're going out. You know what I mean? That's
kept talking about the sushi too. I've had sushi here in Michigan. Outside of Michigan, I've never had sushi. So for me, it's like in a world of a bubble in Michigan. I've only had one type of sushi, but level, as you want to say. Like if you're talking about, there's levels to this. I've only had Michigan level. I want to get to Cali and try this sushi in Cali.
Well, you want to.
He made it seem like it was like the Holy Grail.
You want to be right by the ocean, Boone. Trying sushi.
I've never really had food by the ocean besides when I was in Miami, but I didn't buy sushi. We went out to dinner
Florida,
a couple times.
Cali, like some of those right by the ocean. You get some seafood.
You guys trying to go to dinner in a couple weeks? Take a quick flight out, get some dinner, fly back.
Go get some sushi.
Yeah, we'll put it on Amon-Ra's tab.
Go to Nobu.
Put it on Amon-Ra's tab. We'll just go in every place and be like, put it on the stand. Like that one guy. He's like, I'll get 15 Tito's, 14 this. Put it on his tab. That's what we're gonna do now.
Guy, I thought this was so funny. A dude at Barstool, he got caught doing it, but he would go to restaurants in like big cities and be like, yeah, Dave Portnoy's coming. And then we got a table for you, we're good to go. And then Dave was never coming. He was and then Dave got a call one time. It was like, yeah, I'm not coming. And then he found out.
That's smart though.
It's a tactic. It's a scheme.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's bring on our good friend here, the absolute legend. It's Wednesday, so therefore the Doc is joining the show. The publisher of Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated, one of the greatest podcasters that exist in the space
of all time.
Mr. John Maakaron. John, how are you doing, my friend?
I feel good. How you guys doing? It's a great
John,
day, man. I'm excited.
Good.
We're talking about
wait.
Go on, Boone.
Is the rash gone? I feel good. The rash must be gone. I'm proud of you. I'm pumped up for you, brother.
Yeah, I took all the steroids I needed to take, all the human growth hormone I need to take, all the ED pills. I'm good. I'm ready to go.
No, the ED pills.
Oh man.
Well, Doc, we talked about it at the start of the show. All the rules coming out. I know you've been busy today too. They added a new freaking award. We'll get to all that. But the first one I want to ask: the Lions are one of the teams that pushed back, no pun intended, on the tush push. All right. They were all right, pushed back against those who were pushing back, I guess would be the right way to say that. The people that were against the tush push, Lions were for it. They had no problem with it. What do you make of the tush push staying in the game of football and the Lions being on board with keeping it?
Yeah, no, look, when Dan Campbell says we want to stop it, I'm curious, how do you stop it? I think it's just if it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, I just find it impossible. So it's a challenge. I'm curious when, I probably will ask Kelvin Shepard the week they play the Eagles, how the heck are you going to try and stop the tush push? And it's tough. I mean, what do? You bring the linebackers in? I mean, and here's the thing. I heard you guys talking earlier. I peeked in and look, the tush push is a play that the Eagles actually practice like multiple times during the week. It's an all-year thing. They drill the linemen. They have made this play a staple of their offense, and it's not like just hey, let's just practice it on a Friday as part of a throw-in for red zone. No, they talk about the level of dedication that they put towards it. So they've reaped the rewards, and not all teams can do it. So I look at it like if it's a good play and it benefits teams. Look, I'm always of the opinion if it's 3rd and 1, number one goal is make sure you move the football, advance it. And if, I don't want to risk, fumbling the ball or doing anything crazy, so it's an interesting play, but I love the Lions' bravado in being one of the teams that supports it. So I don't have a problem with it. You saw the Bills try and it didn't work out for them. So I'm glad that, but 22 teams did say, hey, we're not really fond of the play, and the Packers, the soft organization that they are, revised their proposal to try any way to get that play out. But there's no evidence that it hurts players. It's just one of those deals where hey, the Eagles found a little bit of a loophole. They could take advantage of it.
Doc, what did you think about the obviously they withdrew the playoff proposal, and I don't know if you saw the reports. I saw a lot of reports today that it was essentially they want to add it potentially for the 18-game season when they start that. What are your thoughts on that whole proposal, them pulling it, and do you like if they do add it to the 18-game schedule, switching the playoffs, what would it be, seeding?
Yeah, I heard you guys' little disagreement. It's interesting, you know. I never had a problem with the way the playoffs were seeded. I felt like last year's game was, you know, the Lions and the Vikings was as intense as you could imagine. It was for all the marbles, and knowing that the team that lost was going to potentially, you know, still have a great record but have to go on the road. I thought that it valued the division. Now, I understand the other side, though, in that certain 15-win years aren't exactly the same because you rotate division. So if the Lions are playing this year the NFC East and it's not as good, their win record is not the same. But I do feel like owners don't want to lose any home games. They don't want to lose any dollars. They don't want, you know, opportunities where they could be a division winner and then have to go on the road when they earned a home playoff game. So I don't think it ever had support. It was talked about all weekend that it was, you know, there was discussion that, okay, they're going to table it and visit it again. But I like the way the playoffs have been seeded. I could have managed the way that it was tweaked, where you keep it during the regular season to keep it important, and then reseed in the playoffs. I could go with that. What the tweak was, I thought was fair. But to me, you know, I like the way the playoffs are. I like the way the divisions matter and the playoffs, and I like the way that now you end the year against division rivals. It means a lot, especially for the Lions. The last couple of years, those ending couple games have meant something.
And kind of going with all the news that came out today, Doc, now that you hear that they're going to have a protector of the year when it comes to offensive linemen now getting a yearly award, what is your reaction when you hear that? And how long do you think Penei Sewell lands one of these awards?
Yeah, as soon as this year, right? It's the Penei Sewell Award. That's what burst online. I think it's a great award. Look, offensive linemen deserve a lot of credit. They're in the trenches. And look, those guys are definitely humble, smartest guys in the room, very bright, in order to be able to handle all the checks and reads and everything they got to do. So you got to be very bright to be an offensive lineman in the National Football League, and to get a reward. Absolutely great. And it's going to be the Penei Sewell Award. Let's just go with it. And Penei Sewell wins it every single year, and he continues his reign. He gets to at least prove via an award why he's the best. I thought that it was great to see the Lions be featured and splattered all over the top under 25 list from PFF. Really goes to show you what the Lions core is about. A lot of young, talented players, and Penei Sewell is one of them. And by and large, what did Aaron Glenn do? I don't know if you guys are into it, but the Jets have put out their draft specials and stuff like that. And to see them draft Membu was crazy, because that's very similar to the Lions way, which is draft a lineman, get somebody that sets the tone. And my goodness, the Jets are starting to showcase, and you're starting to hear a little bit of how Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn talk. Very eerily similar to Dan Campbell. It's crazy.
Yeah, Doc, we the preseason schedule came out. We talked about it when it initially came out, but some players that we kind of highlighted, at least in my opinion, there are some players that can take advantage of the preseason, considering the Lions have a really good roster. So guys that are late round picks or guys that don't have starting spots, they have an opportunity to not only make the roster, but showcase to other teams what they have potential wise. But is there any Lions players that pop in your mind when you saw that preseason schedule that has the kind of the most to gain when it comes to this upcoming preseason?
Yeah, I love looking at the preseason. And you know, I said on Twitter that this could go off the rails. Shout out to the chat. Y'all are getting late. I'm very happy to read that. That's always good. Congratulations to the young guys that are getting their noodle wet. You guys are reporting. So thanks for sharing. That's great to hear. It's all good on that front, but maybe TMI on some of the other details of that. But hey, that's all good. If the chat's happy, then the doc's happy. I'm happy to hear that for you guys. Hey,
I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah, it makes your attention span so much better. I'm very happy when the chat's happy, the doc's happy. So pass it along anytime you want. These guys like to
pass it along
too. Now, the preseason, to me, this year, very key. You got a lot of young developmental players. And I heard this same very question asked to the fine other writer that's also in the media room there. And I feel like I totally agree with what he had to say. Broderick Martin, Giovanni Manu, Hendon Hooker, all guys that need development, but also too a player in the Teason article for tomorrow. I want to see Sione Vaki, what he does. Where are they using him? What kind of advantages does he get? What kind of growth does he have? Christian did a great article talking about the developmental players that are going to take steps forward. I thought that was a great topic that he brought to the table. And I want to see, I definitely want to see how some of the young developmental players handle it. And I also want to see some of the rookies too. You know, our friend there really dropped a hammer by calling the 6th round pick basically a token, which was crazy. I saw that. I was like, wow, that was bold.
It's on brand, Doc. It's on brand.
It was nice. It was, you know, listen, when anyone has a bold opinion, you share it. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do think that the young rookies that are, I definitely want to see Dan Jackson, love it, and Ahmed Hassanin out there doing their thing. So I want to see definitely a lot of the young players take advantage of the opportunity for playing time. But yeah, the big three, you definitely want to see how Giovanni Manu looks. Does he get a chance to get into that rotation? I don't think so. But hey, you got to see the competition. Broderick Martin looking a little bit more svelte, more athletic. So we'll see about him. And then the number one guy that's going to get a lot of reps, Hendon Hooker. Maybe he does enough to, and I heard the conversation, and I got the tone of like, well, Hendon hasn't had a lot of reps, so he hasn't shown anything. Look, you just need him to hold the clipboard. I don't know what he can show because he's still so inexperienced on the field. There's such a difference to preseason games versus the regular season. So I don't know what type of I don't know that a good preseason even is going to give me confidence that if something happens to Jared Goff, that he could go out there, because the NFL game is such a different level than it is in the preseason, than it is in practice. It's just a very fast game that you got to pick up. You got to read. The defenses definitely are faster and are working their tails off to try and confuse young quarterbacks. So I'm not certain that even Hendon Hooker, you know, the level of development that he's going to get even in this preseason is going to showcase a whole heck of a lot. If he does get the opportunity, he's got to get reps in the regular season, but the only time that's going to ever happen is if Jared Goff gets hurt. So it's very unique with Hendon Hooker where he's at. He's not going to get the value where you're going to ever get a 3rd round pick for him. So the best thing for him is just keep learning and see what happens. But in the National Football League at his age, you know, he might only get one, literally in the National Football League, he might only get one chance. If Goff goes down for a quarter or two, he might only get that one opportunity to showcase what he's got, and he's got to take advantage of it. But I don't know if this preseason is going to be enough to get him ready to showcase what everybody would want.
It's a tough pill to swallow. Some people can't do it, Doc.
He'll be ready, Doc.
I'm with you, Doc. I'm with you. You might need. I'm worried they have to bring in another experienced quarterback if he's not ready. I want to ask you this:
what's the record for the most touchdowns thrown in a preseason game? What is that?
Doesn't matter because, like Doc said, it has to translate to the regular season.
Anyway,
you never know. You're playing against 4th-string practice squad guys who might be playing. We love the UFL, but playing in the UFL next year.
You might break it. Go on.
Doc, I do want to bring this up. We actually talked about it yesterday. If you were watching, it sounded like you were watching the boys. So, hey, I do appreciate that. But we had the Alex Anzalone conversation, and that's been a topic since the last time we spoke with you last week. I would like to get your kind of updated thoughts on that. I had texted you, I think it might have been Thursday or Friday, and I brought up, hey, Doc, did you notice that he deleted the Trey Hendrickson quote tweet? He's deleted a couple tweets. I don't know if it was his agent that said, hey, let's take those down. Maybe I don't know what was going on there. Where are you at with this? Do you think this is actually going to end up being something that, hey, we need to worry about? Or is it going to say, hey, this is just going to blow over? Because you connect the dots, and like we were talking about yesterday, there are some tweets that he went and quote tweeted in the last couple weeks that were from like January. So he's obviously out there. Him and his agent are obviously out there searching and looking for some things to put out in front of Brad and them. How do you think this thing plays out? Is it as serious as maybe some people are taking it?
Well, clearly, if you've heard the stories I've told, I want Alex out of the locker room because he wants to whoop the Doc's ass anytime I post things on social media. No, listen, it's a very interesting. I thought that the linebackers coach handled it wrong when he definitely put the highlight on the whole story when he's like, no comment. Listen, I don't think he's a distraction. he's in the last year of his deal, and he looks around the landscape. He sees all this money being floated around to Derek Barnes and a bunch of other linebackers, even in their 30s. They're getting north of $10 million, and he feels like he's outplayed his contract. So I would, and I'm torn. I would, feel like you've heard, a couple years, give him some guaranteed money. You have to, I think, reward him for the work that he's done the last 4 years. I think he's a good linebacker, and there's no way I would see a dip in production. So but I also get the idea from the GM side that you make him earn it. He's got a contract. He signed it 3 years, $18 million, $6 million is not chump change. But look, his job is to market himself. I would not have done it the way he did it. Clearly, he's just highlighting, and I think he realized, oh shoot, everybody's noticing what I'm doing on social media here. They notice that I'm posting all the positive things. And he said no other linebackers asked to do all the things that I'm asked to do in coverage and all the different things and roles that I got to take on. He wants more money. He wants a contract, some guarantees. And he's no player feels comfortable, especially when he comes off a year where he hurt himself. So he's one play away where all the guaranteed money's gone. So you want some security. You want that last $20 million, 15 guaranteed to secure your future, but he's earned it. Like, I don't see any way in which it's a waste. I like what he brings to the table, but I've gotten pushback and people have said, he's under contract. You make him play out the year. If he does great, pay him more. So I could see both sides of it. I do think that, look, the Lions are clear in the way they do things. They don't want this negotiated in the media. They don't want that. They don't want players tweeting that kind of stuff, because what does it do? It draws eyeballs to it. It forces the opinions to come out, where now there's like 5 to 6 sites that are writing articles. Should we sign him? Should we not sign him? Talking about Alex Ancelotti's contract. It's noise. It's not needed. And I truly believe that what's going to happen is training camp will roll around and we're going to hear that he gets probably maybe just a little bit north of what Derek Barnes got, maybe in the neighborhood of 2 years, 18 million with like 12, 13 guaranteed. And you keep him here 25 and 26 season. I do think Jack Campbell's next, but Alex Ancelotti deserves it. He showcased it. And I'm not saying that because if I don't, he'll pin me against the wall and whoop my ass. I tell him to his face, look, if the time comes and they don't do it, I would agree with the organization. Go out and do it again. My message would be, go do it again. Charge the Lions more. If you have another great year in 2025, you get lucky and you gamble on yourself, you stay healthy, you're going to blow it out of the water either in Detroit or somewhere else. You could get 2 years, 25 million. You could get 12. If you have another great year and you showcase what you did for this organization, I think that Alex Ancelotti's in a good spot with what he's got going on. But players listen, the last year of the deal, that's why we put out the articles about trading JMO or trading Alex. Players in the last year of their deal, we start speculating about their future.
And Doc, Jeff kind of asked you the question just a second ago, who has the most to gain this preseason? Who do you think on the flip end has the most to lose going through this preseason? Guys that have already been here, even guys that just got drafted that could potentially get beat out by a veteran. Who do you think has most to lose this preseason?
Yeah, a player that people are talking about is NX Racestraw. I'm curious to see how much playing time he gets. Him being on the outside is interesting and unique. I like the idea of giving him some competition. I thought that his first year as a second round pick did not get anywhere near the impact that you'd want for him. If he showcases, hey, some struggles, then his playing time is not going to be there. I'm curious. I do think that some of the vets, Rocky Sin, has to prove some things and earn a job. I think those guys fighting for jobs could be in a situation where there's some challenges. I guess the guy with the most to lose is Graham Glasgow. He's the guy that I think most people think is already out of a job, with Tate Ratledge and Miles Frazier coming to town. So there's some vets that could be out of town if it doesn't go well and training camp per se doesn't go exactly right. Graham Glasgow, most notably, is a player that did not have the greatest year, and they drafted more players at his position. And I think another player too, Colby Sorsdahl, has to showcase that he's got to step up, that this job, that this development is on point for him. Many people right now, I think we did a little bit of an early roster bubble where there's some players we think are clearly on that bubble. Broderick Martin, Colby Sorsdahl definitely got to go out there and do some things. And then as well, I look at players, a little bit older on the roster that got to do some things that got to battle. So I'm excited to see how training camp shakes out. But the most to lose, I'll probably say Graham Glasgow because he might end up being on the bench in favor of a young rookie if the training camp battles don't go his way.
Hey, real quick, Doc.
Yeah, go on.
Broderick Martin.
Listen,
is he dead in the water, Doc?
I think a lot of people, I still think it's too early because we still haven't, we will see him finally on the field next week. So there will be a report on what he looks like out there. I do think he's more athletic. I do think that he's got an uphill climb, but listen, he's got to get a chance to showcase. And I do think that clearly with Tyleik Williams and Roy Lopez and others as well that are on the defensive line, he's got uphill. He's got to showcase something. So I do not think he's dead in the water. If he's got any level of competition, then if he's got any grit, then he's going to try to prove to keep his job. So I do not say he's dead in the water, but yeah, he faces an uphill climb, and it's safe to say that most of the fan base has already given up on him, but I have not. Until I see him out there on the field, until I see what he looks like in training camp battling and seeing what he's about with his new revamped physique and attitude. Clearly, he's got the message that the team is wanting him to be more consistent and develop. So we'll see what happens. The Lions seem to be giving guys some chances, and I want to see what he looks like out on the field.
Yeah, this comment always gets me too. Broderick, best
shape of his life.
Yeah, we hear this.
Pulling quads.
Yeah, we hear. I got to see another quad getting pulled in, and I'll be a little more excited, Doc. Let me bring up a rookie. All right, then we talked about him. He's on the same Brown pod. I know you already watched his start to finish because you're a sicko too. Isaac Teslaa. He talked to the St. Brown brothers. And he's an 02. He was born in 02, which is crazy.
February 20th, 2002, matter of fact.
The same birthday as Lukas Klotz. He's 02 babies, Doc. I want to ask, though, expectations for him in terms of production. Like what? Because we struggled with this right before you joined. We were talking about like what would even be a fair expectation yards-wise for him, his rookie year, because you have so many guys that are already in that room. And then even at his best with Jameson here, with Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, Jameer, all these guys, like what would that look like? One this year, but also you think at his best, what do you think that production looks like with all these weapons?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But I watched the podcast and I loved the setup. I thought it was great, entertaining. So, rhetorical question for the chat and you guys. Doc, Isaac Teslaa, Amon-Ra, and Equanimous all go to a bar in California. Who pulls more numbers? Is it the Doc or Amon-Ra? Who's got more game? Who do you think spits more game out there? Because I would take Isaac under my wing. He'd be my perfect wingman, and I think I could get him some attention out there with his new signing bonus, and we'd have a good time out there. Me and Isaac can party and have a good time together, show him a little bit. We wouldn't go to no sushi place. We would start, our night would start at midnight, and we'd go to some of those clubs out there that have a good time in LA. And for sure, I would do this. No problem. I would admit it. I would just call up TMZ and be like, look, I got a couple Lions guys here. Take my photo, cut me a little bit of the check of the photos, and make sure that stuff gets out there. Make sure you interview me and ask me some great questions about my evening, and I'll tell you how much fun we're going to have.
I mean, the Doc, no cervix is safe in LA with the Doc involved.
No cervix is safe. It's just a wild thing to say.
All right. Back to football. I think that early on it's going to be a little bit slow. I would probably say in the neighborhood of 300 to 550 yards of production. You still got a lot of mouths to feed. I don't think he's going to be the primary target in a lot of offensive sets. It's going to take time to develop chemistry. But once it gets going, I see some opportunities in short yardage situations, be a red zone guy. You still got Tim Patrick, I think, is going to get a lot of targets. Jamo, I do think, is going to be in that 12 to 1,400 range. Amon-Ra is going to be looking to continue to grow and develop. So rookies tend to take a little bit of time to develop and get that chemistry and trust. So I'm looking 35 to 40 catches, if that, for like 500 yards, maybe a couple touchdowns. And really, it's a year to develop and grow in this offense and get after it. So I will be curious to see what level of production he gets, what percentage of offensive snaps, what 4 wide receiver sets, 5 wide receiver sets. Do they go a little bit aggressive with him and get him out there early? But, there's opportunities for him. If the Lions feel like he's one of the top guys in the draft and something happens to Tim Patrick or he's not developing as much, you never know. Maybe he can get up there in the 600 to 700 yard range. But I just think that, most people in their expectations are using the word modest, and I'll stick with that.
Hey, I want to throw this out here, Doc, because I read one of your articles this week, and it was about Mike Valeni and the Jamison Williams conversation. And I think it all kind of comes together with the top 25 under 25 years old, to where you had 5 Detroit Lions players on there, and the one guy out that everyone kept pointing out was Jamison Williams. And that kind of sparked the debate on every single show. Hey, is he the odd man out? Can you give your thoughts on that? I know it was when I read it, it was a Mike Valeni kind of him throwing that out there. I want to actually get your thoughts, though, specifically on the Jamison Williams stuff and that top 25 list as well.
Yeah, Teddy, baby. All right, thanks for sharing, man. I don't know why I uniquely would smile at that, but thank you. I can rest easy knowing that I got fans that do that with my articles, man. Thank you kindly. That's somehow some uniquely an ego boost for a guy like me. So thank you very much. I will be definitely sharing that with friends and be like, there are fans that love my articles so much. It's arousing. It's listen,
Jeff and Doc are just having a freak off right now. What are we doing, fellas?
Yeah, I don't know
I don't know what's going on in the chat. You know what it is? You know what it is? It's spring. It's the weather. It's guys. And listen, that's what they want to talk about. And I'm sure some of them saw what Joy Taylor had to say on her podcast. I was very uniquely entertained by the commentary that she's bringing to the table. I am a fan of her work. I am not, based on what she describes, I am not in that category of a gentleman. So I thought that's what's in the mood. I think that's what's going on this Detroit evening. The cold weather kind of puts everybody in the mood to stay inside and get after it. So, but like I said, we're going to go off the train a little bit.
Dude.
But uniquely, I'm surprised people push back so much on what Mike Valeni says, because I think they listen to the whole thesis and they don't agree. All he was doing was saying, look, if Brad Holmes loves Isaac Teslaa, what does that mean for JMO? Like, what does that mean for the future if you're trading that many picks for a guy? Is Isaac Teslaa the future? And I do think it's a little bit of a stretch to say that he would outbeat JMO at this point. JMO has a completely different skill set, but it's interesting to wonder because the future of Jamison Williams is something to pay attention to because of the nature of the contract he's going to demand. But I do not think I directly correlate Teslaa to JMO. I think that Teslaa is a big-bodied X receiver that's kind of like in the Tim Patrick role. And I do think that Jamison Williams is a player that could end up on another team, but not because of his lack of talent, but because the market could dictate that, hey, he commands $25 million a year and you just can't pay everybody. So I thought that his conversation was unique. And his basic question is, well, is Jamison Williams part of the core of the Lions? And I do think that my answer is no. And the reason is that the wide receiver position is the easiest to replace. They're coming out in droves in terms of tall, lanky receivers that can get open and be a deep threat. It's just tough to pay. Are you going to pay $100 million for a couple receivers? Like, are you going to have, one receiver making 30 and the other one making 25 and another one coming in and breaking the bank as well? It's very tough to pay wide receivers that much money. So I do think that Jamison Williams is in the driver's seat because he's got a talent that I think the league covets. And it's a tough conversation to have because people love Jamison Williams. And I do think that there's a strong attachment to the way he plays, his youthful attitude. But this is dollars and cents. This is not fanboy stuff here. We're talking dollars and cents. And dollars and cents indicate that you got a lot of dollars that you got to pay out. And you can get a wide receiver of a similar skill set to JMO much cheaper. But, on the other side, if JMO balls out in 25 and 26, you can use a franchise tag and keep him the extra year. I just don't know if the Lions are going to be willing to invest 4 years and $160 million in a receiver, especially when you have Amon-Ra St. Brown and you can still go cheaper in the next couple drafts. So it's an interesting debate. It's one that's tough because everybody loves JMO and they don't want to talk about that kind of thing in the business sense of it. But guys, I'm sorry, Brad Holmes said it directly. The wide receiver position is plenty, and you can get a player of similar stature to Jamison Williams in the draft or in free agency at a much cheaper cost. So, but he's got a unique speed. He's got a unique skill that will get him paid. He will be paid. Listen, his skill set, based on what the coaching staff says, he's going to develop and grow. The problem lies therein in that a lot of Lions are going to demand a lot of high salary. And so I'm not so certain that Jameson's going to get the bag, but he could, and he could, and this conversation could end up being moot. But I do think that the conversation around JMO, it's just the nature of the business, in that if you look at it and you say, well, if you pay JMO, are you willing to give up Laporta? Tight ends can play till they're 35. Are you going to give up Gibbs, Jack Campbell? Those are all integral parts. It's just unfortunate that JMO plays a position that most people feel you can kind of get a suitable replacement in the draft. So we'll see if he balls out and continues to ball out. The Lions still have advantages within the cap to keep him around with the franchise tag. So it's just one of those interesting conversations. And Mike Valenti is one of the greats at being able to expand in his unique way.
I just want to throw out there real quick, Doc, like just to kind of go off of that. It is like, I think the question has to come up because that option, you opted in, obviously, but he's due for he was eligible for an extension and they didn't do it. So I think that I think it's fair for people to, and Brad had that at the league meetings, had the comment about it as well. So I think there is that. Can I just follow up on the franchise tag thing? Do you think that happens? Because I don't know if you ever remember, or if people in the chat remember, Amon-Ra St. Brown was talking about the franchise tag at one point. I don't remember what show or where it was on. It might have been on his own, but they were talking about the T. Higgins one. And Amon-Ra made the comment, like, we've never had it. We've never had to deal with that in Detroit. Hopefully we never have to. Like that, I would be so mad if that happened to me. And he had mentioned that. So is that something that, like, if it happens, I wonder, like, do you think JMO would kind of feel a little type of way with that? Or how do you think that would go? Like that would play out?
No, it's a great question. And it's simple, similar to Alex Anceloni. It's dollars and cents. If someone offers you $100 million guaranteed versus 17 million guaranteed, or whatever the average of the top 5 is, which is going to probably by then be around 20, 21 million. That's a lot of money. And so players don't like the franchise tag because it limits what you can earn in terms of high-end dollars. Look, Jameson Williams, like any other athlete, and he's going to speak to his representatives, they're going to say, hey, if a team is willing to give you $100 million and 75 of it guaranteed, and a lot of years and per annual basis of north of $20 million, it's just tough to sit there and go on a 1-year basis because the risk of injury. If something happens, boom, then teams will use that and your career and your earning power is over. But he's made a lot of money. And look, 1 year, a lot of average fan is going to be like, listen, 1 year, 22 million fully guaranteed is not going to, be chump change. So it's just a leverage tool that, in essence, the franchise tag really, in essence, is made for JMO. It's made to keep him around for 27 and 28 if you want to do that without committing to him long term. But athletes don't like it. They feel disrespected. But I don't think that JMO is going to be the kind of guy that's going to pout or sulk. I think he just would accept it. Maybe he would, personally feel slighted, but you still make a boatload of cash when you get franchise tagged. It's unfortunate, but I could see that happening. And it's pretty clear Jameson Williams could be the candidate for the Lions to be one of the first to get the franchise tag in Brad Holmes' era.
And a huge reason or outcome of JMO's success last year resulted in the Lions winning the division, Doc. And I don't know if you saw the article that was going around, but it said the most vulnerable division winners, and it had the Lions at number 1. When you see that, you compare it to the other division winners from 2024, what do you make of it? Do you think that it's accurate, or do you think it's just off the wall? They're trying to get clicks out of this?
Yeah, interesting article by Judy Battista, the longtime NFL columnist who's on television every single night at 7 p.m. on the NFL Insiders. She's made her bones doing some great work in the NFL.
Who was that?
Judy Battista, the longtime NFL columnist. A great female columnist who's done great work covering teams and now has transitioned to television and now is a senior NFL columnist at NFL.com. So I definitely read that. You guys read it as well. Clearly, it's a good article, but it uses tropes and narratives that I think are basic and kind of ones that you would use if you're on the outside. You're a little bit nervous, from the outside about Ben Johnson leaving and Aaron Glenn leaving and the tough schedule. But look, and this is where I joked around, which you will see. which is so funny in that I now see a lot of people who comment under a lot of stuff. I did that stuff 15 years ago, and now I kind of picked it back up because I forgot how fun it is. I joked around with the Eagles on their page. I said, oh, great. The Eagles tush push is legal. The Lions are going to use it to beat the Eagles. And all the Eagles fans are riled up going, oh my God, da-da-da-da-da. I look at it and I say, it looks like Booner and all his calm down friends are not doing a good enough job to let the national media know that the Lions are legit. There's still doubts. I'm surprised with all the, I can't believe the outside world is critiquing the Lions, that Booner and Natalie and Mike, all you calm down guys are not tweeting it enough to get the perception of the national media to change. It's just, I'm shocked. I am truly shocked.
Did you not have you been watching the show over the last week? Did you see Friday's show?
I did. I listened pretty much.
The Booner Path.
Yeah.
The Booner Path officially came back Friday, and it's, hey, calm down. We don't care about the outside noise anymore, Doc. Exactly. And you've been covering this team a while. We're back to 2022 and 2023, and I think the boys like it that much. I like it like that, Doc, where the national media is against us. I would rather have it like that than have it to where every week Lions this. Hate us, please. Okay. We'll play better. Okay. We'll be better. Okay, calm down now, Doc.
You're speaking, but unfortunately, the reality, as someone who's a psychologist who knows what people read and what they don't.
Listen up, Boone.
The fans love what the outside is saying. They just want so desperately to be relevant, to be universally respected, to be the king of the mountain. The fans are always wondering, what's Stephen A saying? What's Shannon Sharp saying? What's Ocho saying? What are they love it. They love to hear what is being said about the Detroit Lions. They love it locally. They want all the fans to be on board, and they also want the outside world. They're like, oh my God, SportsCenter only spent half a segment talking about the Lions. They love the Detroit. Where do you think Detroit versus everybody came from? It's great. It's something that should be warranted. It's likely never going to happen that you get the entire outside world and people that peek into the Lions that only read articles and get information from others, that they're going to universally love the Lions. No, I don't see that happening. You could scream that. You could scream on this show and every other show for every single day until the season starts, and you're still going to have doubters that are going to pick what's going to happen is, I agree with others that say there's going to be people that will know that the Lions fans will get riled up, and they'll pick the Bears to win the division just to rise up the Detroit Lions fans. It's just easy to do. It's not even that difficult. You know that people will do it pretty simply because you know that look what happened when Joy Taylor critiqued Dan Campbell wearing the helmet. The entire Lions fan base came after her, and she came on my podcast and was like, okay, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But she says coaches don't act like that. And she wasn't used to it. And she took her medicine, and the Lions fan base really got after her. And that's what fans do. They're fanatics. But I do not think that now to the point of the question, I do think that there are concerns. Yes, naturally, when you have overhaul, when you have changes to that degree, but I just think that it's a little bit of a lazy take, because if you look deeply, John Morton knows the system, is deeply connected to Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell is an offensive genius. He's in the meetings. He is partly in the game planning. He is somebody that is a big part of this offense. You have a great offense. Kelvin Shepard was molded and taught by Aaron Glenn. So the transition is not that big a deal. And to me, I just think that those on the outside that don't watch the Lions as intently as we do, look at it and say they're going to fall off. It's not a year-to-year thing. Well, to me, I can only go by the facts of the case. They went from 3 wins to 9 wins to 12 wins to 15 wins. To me, it's a 10-win, 11-win team that's going to be a very successful team that has a great offense and some question marks on defense. But listen, I don't give truly, I don't care what the outside world thinks about the Detroit Lions. It's interesting to read about, but I truly do not care what anybody outside of Detroit thinks about the Lions. If they like the Lions, great. If they don't, it doesn't make a difference. Dan Campbell's mission is to one day win a Super Bowl, and my intention is to only watch and pay attention to all the moves made. Did they make enough to get there in 2025? My current stance is I have some doubts as if 2025 is a good enough year to overcome the best teams in the National Football League. But let's go down that road and find out the answer. My thesis is I got great hope for the future, a lot of sustained success, a lot of big wins, a lot of double-digit seasons, but a little bit concerned for 2025.
Doc, can you clarify for us? We talked about this yesterday, and I guess it was kind of, I don't know if it was completely wrong or maybe it was just misunderstood, but the Sports Illustrated article that from the Chargers that suggested that the Lions were going to trade up to 22. Can you clarify kind of what that is, why they were going to do it, and maybe it wasn't for an edge like they assumed, and maybe more so for Tyreek or Derek Harmon or something like that?
Okay. Excuse me for getting pissed off here at your question, but look, let me put it this way. Okay. And I shared it with your colleague, and I'm going to share it again so that the internet world can hear it directly. When you read an article, okay, look for keywords that will tell you exactly. It's not a report. What happened is an outlet read between the lines and said, oh, the Chargers were making calls. Well, there were some teams maybe that were interested. And a national reporter misquoted Brad, but they were speculating. Even if the quote is, you take out all the quotes, they were speculating, saying the Lions could have been a team that was interested. That was the headline in the first article. Now, what happens is, and this is the world of media, is we all read and we're all looking for content. So another SI site went to that page and read it and said, oh, this could potentially be a case. And they used the word likely, maybe. It wasn't a report. It was all written as speculation. You have to be an educated reader. Nobody reported that the Lions tried to trade up. Nobody reported that. None of the local beat said that. None of us said that. They said, Brad Holmes said that they tried to make some moves in the second round. But could they have made a call? It's possible. But look for those words, maybe, could have, likely, and just don't read the headline and then start going and posting stuff. Read the article, understand what you're reading, and realize that nobody said that the Lions definitively called and took a call from the Chargers and tried to make a deal for James Pierce. That never happened. That it was never written that way. It was written, maybe it could have happened. It was likely. And that's happened to me before on a big stage on things that I've written, but I clearly write the headline in a way where it's clear. I put rumor, I put speculation, or here's what I'm thinking. You have to do that nowadays because people read that and they say Sports Illustrated said this. Listen, that guy, all he did was clip an article, like what you guys do on a small scale. You take a little clip, you go, hey, here's what I think on it. This is what this guy did. Everybody thought and became a rumor because they don't understand what they're reading, and everybody's reading comprehension is at a third grade level. All right, please look for those words. Maybe, could be. It was not a report. It was pure speculation. And look, common sense, guys. These are all common sense kind of stuff. Do you think Brad Holmes inquired a little bit about an edge before the 6th round? Of course he did. Where was it? Maybe in the first, maybe in the second. He definitely thought that there was an edge that he could have taken. It didn't happen because the Lions were too far back. Brad Holmes said it out of his mouth 30 times. He tried to make calls in the second round. What do you think he was trying to call up for? So it's just one of those deals where everybody's butt hurt and they don't understand what they're reading and they want to be Mr. Fact Checker online. Well, if you read the article, it pretty much tells you, if you have half a brain, that it's all speculation.
Doug, I want to throw out there yeah, you texted me last night. We were having the conversation about it, and I ended up I kind of understood all of that. It made sense.
Read the articles. That's all I ask. Read, click, take your time and read the articles. It does not come across as fact in any way.
Well, hey, that's why you're a legend, Doc. That's why you're great at what you do. I want to bring up one coach real quick before we move on to different sports and different things like that. But Tashard Choice, coming over from Texas as the running backs coach, Doc, you were in the building. You were out at practice. You got to see him out in action. And I saw you guys wrote the article about Jahmyr Gibbs and the comments that he made. Can you talk about him a little bit and what he's been like in the building there and kind of what he's going to do? The one thing, I don't know if you remember this. I'm sure you do because you were there. But someone had made the comment, I think it was Kelvin Shepard, about how he told him, he says, I don't want you to judge me on Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, but judge me on Sione Vaki and Craig Reynolds. I think that's one of the best quotes I've heard in Allen Park ever. That is an unbelievable quote. What are your thoughts on him and as well as what you've seen around Allen Park?
Absolutely. And then real fast, not to belabor the point, but guys, you guys know in the chat who you trust. You trust a guy like me, Jeremy, Ben, Corey. You trust the guys that are in Detroit. It's not that hard. Anything written out there, guys, there are literally 200 other sites that cover the Lions that are not really in regards to in the know. So I would say stick with the people that you know and trust, that talk to you, that you know. If you don't see that I wrote it or the others, you would see, I would say, at least 2 people write that rumor locally before you go believe anything outside of the parameter. So trust local, please. And the national guys too, they are connected, like Albert Breer and things like that. But if you don't see it on a local site, please don't take it as gospel. And there's no need to fact check and debate things. People are going to write things. If you read it, you can understand it. Tashard Choice got as much energy as me. You got to love him, man. He's got full energy. He's ready to go. I think he's coming in to be a dog and to coach these running backs and to be somebody that's going to get Jahmyr Gibbs to the next level and David Montgomery to be a grinder. I love his energy. I was there at rookie minicamp, and he was going at it with Kelvin Shepard. He's got big energy. If a running back that was there, a rookie running back or a tryout, just made a move that wasn't exactly the way Tashard wanted him, he stopped the rep and made him do it again. Said, hey, do not do this. Do this way, and make sure you go about your business in the right way. Big energy guy. I think he's a great asset to Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's going to take Gibbs to the next level. I was hyped. I posted on X. I said, hey, to 1,000 yards each for Gibbs and David Montgomery, and being facetious, I said 2,000 yards all purpose for Jahmyr Gibbs coming this year because he's got good energy. I think he's somebody that understands the running back position to a T. And also too, I think that him being close friends with Calvin Shepard will definitely spark up a rivalry day to day. That's going to be great. And to your point, yeah, anybody can coach a running back with supreme talent like Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. But how do you develop a guy like Sione Vaki that has a skill set that needs to be developed a little bit raw? And where do you take him? Where do you get him? Do you get the most out of your players? Do you get the special teams value? Do you get the buy-in from players like Craig Reynolds and take them to another level? So Scotty Montgomery and also Scotty's still part of the coaching staff. They will sit and Tashard Choice will run the running backs, but he can go to Scotty Montgomery anytime and get some information. And I do think that this coaching staff, even though it's revamped, I like it. I think you guys spent as much time as I did listening to those guys speak. And I loved every minute of what I was hearing from the new linebackers coach, the defensive backs coaches, and the assistant coaches are just on par with what you need at the National Football League level. But Tashard Choice, full energy, great experience, and is going to take Jahmyr Gibbs to the next level. Look out. Must have from the DOC. If you're in fantasy, get Jahmyr Gibbs within the first 5 picks if you can.
Hey, Doc, switching up gears now, because we talked to you last Wednesday about him. Those Detroit Tigers are still hot, okay? They're first in the AL still by 3.5 games. Over these last couple of series since we talked to you last, played the Cardinals, and then I'm blanking on who they played before that. But what's over the last week your takeaway from the Tigers as they continue to just look better and better?
Yeah, no, listen, it's been so fun to watch the Blue Jays series, to watch the series against the Cardinals. Look, you're going to have setbacks. They just keep winning series. And I am absolutely thrilled to watch baseball. I get to sit back, crack a beer, watch this baseball team. And here's what we look for in Detroit. You get the best of the best with AJ Hinch. I mean, analytically sound, making key decisions that just work. I just look at it and go, my God, this is expertise. This is what we like. This is not the most high payroll team. This is a group of guys that have been put together based on the model that Scott Harris and AJ Hinch want. And it's just unbelievable. And then we get the pleasure of watching some of the game's greats. Tariq Skubal is just dominant, the best pitcher in baseball. I said today on the Doc and Jock podcast, I told Adam, I said, that dude's pitching like every start is worth $1 million more per year on his contract. Boom. This contract, now I'm worth 41. Next outing, boom. Now I'm worth 42 million a year. Boom. Next outing, now I'm worth 43. Every outing you just are must watch with Tariq Skubal. 100-mile-an-hour fastball, just command, just bulldog mentality, a true ace. And then what's great is some guys that nobody expected to really be something. Many people maybe have written off: Spencer Torkelson, Javi Baez, Riley Green. They're, they had some slumps, some downtime, and Javi Baez had 2 years where he just nothing went right. Hip surgery has changed his career around, and we'll take it. And it's just a baseball team that, when you look at offensive metrics, are just doing great things with run differential. Their pitching staff is amazing. So it's just a fun ride. You just want to watch this baseball team. You don't want to miss anything, because you're seeing a baseball team that, what I think is great, it's a collective team that's better than any individual part. And you still get the benefit of the blessing of a Bulldog and Tariq Skubal, but it's a good baseball team. And now we're getting to that point where people are saying, should we kind of up our expectations? And why not? Yeah, why not say this baseball team can get to the World Series and maybe compete?
They're winning the World Series.
Come on, Booner. They're not going to win the World Series.
They're going to win it all.
You need 2 to 3 players. You would need, if you want to actually say that and have people widely believe you, it would be you need another pitcher, reliever, another bat. You need 3 players that contribute to this team. Maybe they're doing their rehab starts.
Doc, you're wrong. They're going to win the World Series.
Okay, Booner.
I'm kidding. I love you.
Booner, the Los Angeles Dodgers are not going anywhere. They spend 3 times as much as you, and they have better players than you than every position.
They don't have the heart that you have, Doc. They don't have Doc. I know the heart that you have. The Tigers have heart like you. They don't have the heart and the work ethic that you have, Doc. The Dodgers don't have that. The Tigers do.
Yeah, they do. Okay, but let's just make sure that these guys can get to the World Series. If Casey Mize' hamstring doesn't fall off, if you got to remember too that they're still working out these bullpen days, and they got work to do to get better. And you have to have that same level of production throughout the whole year. And I just think that in baseball, typically the more talented team wins. Pitching is definitely key. You definitely could get a game or 2 in the series, but by and large, the more talented team wins. And I saw what I need to see that first series of the year, and it'll be competitive, but I would not put a single penny on the Tigers beating the Dodgers in the World Series. Maybe you get somebody else and you take advantage, but hey, listen, best thing to do is now start championing the position to buy. Tell Chris Ilitch, buy some players, get some talent. This is a team, Chris Ilitch, that yes, there are guys in Detroit like Booner who truly believe that they will win the World Series if you make an investment. And if you make an investment on 3 good players on teams that are going nowhere, you go after it. And pretty soon we're going to have to start actually looking to find which players can the Lions buy and add to this payroll and get this team to the point where people won't laugh at Booner for making such a ridiculous claim.
Hey, no one's laughing at me. 90% of Detroit, 90% of Detroit is on my side saying, let's go win a World Series this year. It's World Series are almost bust, in my opinion. I do want to just throw out there real quick.
Which 90% of people? Which 90% of people? The ones that get high and then text you say, "Yeah, I believe you, Booner." Listen.
Well, the only people who aren't on my side are the Jets fans in the chat.
Which ball knower's telling you? You tell me which ball knower's telling you the Tigers are beating the Dodgers, and I'll tell you. Okay, don't be disappointed.
All of them.
I'd rather lay it straight to
all
you.
Of them.
All
of them.
Nobody's telling you that.
Listen, I go off of my Booner's fantasy land, and in my world, we're winning the World Series in my fantasy. Like, I do want to ask you a Tigers follow-up question, though. We did have the question, and I'm just joking with you. Obviously, the Dodgers are a great team. I'm just having a little bit of fun here. Shout out to people in the chat who took it a little serious. I want to throw out there, and I don't know how much you say. I kind of understood your point there, adding the 3 players. Guys like Parker Meadows, though, Doc, and Jake Rogers obviously just came back. Dylan Dingler's been great, but like a Parker Meadows, how do you think that kind of rotation thing works out there? We've been talking about it on the show the last 48 hours, trying to figure that out when he does come back. Like, where does Parker Meadows slide in? Because he's not a guy that you just don't put back in the – he is playing. So it's like, who ends up getting – you don't take Javi out now. So you're in a weird spot. How if you were the manager, you're AJ Hinch, what are you doing, Doc, when Parker Meadows becomes active and is back in this lineup?
Yeah, no, I think everybody would kind of want to see him in center field. I mean, Javi's done a great job, but man, it's a great question because you got Vierling, you got Javi Baez, you got some guys that you want to see out there and compete. So look, Javi Baez being a utility guy is great. I'm looking forward to seeing. I would love to see this lineup with Parker Meadows, Kerry Carpenter, a healthy Spencer Torkelson, and Riley Green going into the postseason. It's just amazing. But yeah, who do you take out? That's the tough part, because this offense right now is purring. And that's the part about baseball, is those small changes can upset the apple cart. So it's very crazy to think about how this could all shake out, but it's a good problem to have. And AJ Hinch will figure it out. It's unique, because it feels like with this baseball team, the team of destiny type thing, in all seriousness, they push the right buttons, and whatever moves that AJ Hinch makes just kind of work. And he just has a great understanding with which guy look, you bring in Justin Henry Malloy to pinch hit, he gets the hit. It's amazing, because that move is not made just happenstance. It's analytically driven. It's amazing, the moves, the buttons that are pushed. And the best part is that the opportunity is there to buy. You have assets in the minors that you can dole out to get not just guys that come in that are rentals. You can get guys that can be here for a while. So guys, the Tigers are a baseball squad that you can trust. Put a rocket ship on them. You invest a little bit in them. It just starts to feel like the reward and the investment is going to get paid off with a lot of wins. And I'll say this, okay? I don't want to take a lot of credit, because me, I'm humble.
Don't take too much.
I'm not taking a lot of credit for the Tigers' success. Please, guys like Chris, guys like Caleb, the baseball diehards. But I'm a guy that's superstitious, right? And I say, man, this Tiger team last year, they stink. They're not good. What can we do to turn it around? So you know what I did when they were losing? I said, you know what this Tiger team needs? This is what they needed. They needed some of this.
Oh, wait. Doc.
WWE love, baby.
Oh my
I went out last year and got this bad boy. And this thing is great.
Cool,
this thing is great. This thing is amazing.
Doc, that thing is badass. I mean,
where do you get something like that?
What do you mean? Where'd I get WWE.com? They sell.
That's wild.
Yeah. So
That's
I
crazy.
bought this, and the Tigers have been 40 games over 500 since the DOC invested in the Detroit Tigers. You know why? Because they're the champ. They roll in Detroit, and they're one of the best baseball teams. So I'm not taking credit for the Tigers' success, but since I've invested, and these are not cheap, but I will say that the Tigers are a team that one day you'll probably see me out there rocking this as a crazy fan, and I'm excited, man. And the Tigers are look, it's great. Tariq Skubal, and in the end, what gives Booner credibility is pitching wins world championships, and you got some dogs out there. Reese Olson sucks for him to go on the IL, but him. Casey Mize was dealing with that slider. It's just fun to watch each and every year. So I'm excited out there. The Tigers have a chance this year, man. Get hyped. Comerica is going to get loud in September and October. But I'll take a small piece of superstition that once I got this in my possession, all of a sudden, Javi, who I was screaming last year, man, just give him a little vacation. He could just not be there. And he goes out for some weird reason for a long period of time. And he's gone. They start winning. They turn around the fortune. They were on the brink, guys. They just happenstance into the postseason. So it's a great time. And WWE, I got too many of these. This is the one thing that my wife's getting mad at me, because every so often I'm like, I want a belt. I got a Spartan one. I got these littered all over the house, but the Detroit Center ones are my favorite. This one here.
I'll send you a Michigan one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't. This house has all green, baby. Blue is Blue's in trouble, guys. It's coming. I hate to tell
I'm not
you,
worried.
but the hammer is coming. Something's coming. It's brewing. Don't you smell it in the air? The NCAA is going. They're typing
This
it out.
is like Michigan State's finally had something to cheer for, and they are just overdoing it.
It's not something to cheer for. It's just like
That's what this is.
Our legal system is so effing slow, and the Big Ten is even slower, that none of us care anymore. And they'll come down and be like, Michigan will have this and they'll have that, and then show cause and all this nonsense. It's fine. But all Spartan fans want is accountability. You cheated, you got caught. Now you got to face the punishment, however many years later. And that's just the way it's going to be.
MSU fans want accountability. You guys should worry about winning some games or something, figuring out something over there, Doc, before you are worrying about our program. Get your guys' program together before our program. That might be the problem. You guys got players going to different schools that are in your backyard. You guys can't seem – your program is worse off than ours. You guys are better off getting the death penalty right now than any other school.
Yeah, it's crazy that
with all due respect, Doc.
It's one of those things where they had to fire their athletic director because he couldn't raise no money. And you know how bad that is? They've never acknowledged the DOC in any capacity. They send me emails, but they don't send me, hey, Doc, I think my information is pretty readily available in their system. They have never once sent me an envelope to even offer to ask for money. That's how bad they are. Would I give it to them? Hell no. But they have never done enough work to realize, wait a minute, there's a local media guy. He loves Michigan State, posts all the state stuff, and he's out there working in the media. Looks like he's fairly successful. Maybe we should hit him up for some money. They've never even taken the time to hit me up for any money. So that's how bad Michigan State is. We're trying to find a guy to shake his tail feathers to get the rich guys to give money. That's how bad we are. Yeah, exactly. We're so far behind the 8 ball. It's crazy. We're 9 moves behind the 8 ball. We're running a program without any cash. Good luck with that. That's, they need the Doc to get the job there and be like, all right, I'll shake my tail feather for whoever to give me some money. My God.
The program, the whole athletic department is outside of Tom Izzo is brutal. So,
hey, Doc,
I'll let you deal with that.
I need you to do me a favor and for me, just spread this message to Vito. So he does some great work. That's why I'm so disappointed in him for his one player that he would send to the Olympics. He picked Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm disappointed in Vito because even though what he said in the article is factual, Jahmyr Gibbs and James Williams do exist, right? And can you, because he picked Amon-Ra St. Brown, but by the way, I didn't say that. He picked Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I love Vito, but come on, Doc. If you're sending a Lions guy, you send an Amon-Ra, you send in Jahmyr or Jameson Williams.
Why not both?
Now, that's a great question. He picked Amon-Ra because of just the fact that he's a great ambassador. He won't cause any international drama. Look, we have to look at the total picture outside of the fandom, right? In the Olympics, I'm not so certain that Jameson and Jahmyr's explicit dances might go over well with the international crowd. Okay, so even though
Amon-Ra, Amon-Ra's humping the ground too, though.
Amon-Ra's the biggest dancer on the team.
He might. I feel like Amon-Ra might clean it up representing his own country because of the relationship with his mom. I feel like Jameson Williams could cause an international crisis with something that he does. He could take a flag and do something inappropriate with it. He could do something so outlandish and fun that could be fun in Detroit, but not so fun on the international stage. Jahmyr Gibbs would be great too. We had fun with it. And listen, what I love about Vito is I think he might have did that to also draw a little bit of reaction because I think he saw that everybody said Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's slick. Vito is slick in the manner in which he does. Look, he's always humble and honest, and he'll defend his points. But I think that one might have been one to draw a little bit of that. Draw a little bit of those that say, "Hey, what about Jahmyr Gibbs?"
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. All right, let's get to some mailbag questions. Sorry, I just ate a pretzel. It's delicious pretzel. All right.
Be a pro, Jeff.
Sorry, the pretzel's right here. Nobody says, Doc, you ever get backlash for giving insider info on media? Seems like there's a lot more insiders coming out, Doc, that aren't insiders. I don't know if you see this on Twitter, but go on. You can answer that.
Yeah. No. I am open book. I don't feel like I've been inappropriate. I just share honestly what goes on. I do not feel – I don't talk – listen, it's all business in there. We got work to do. I'm not as friendly with them because I also don't hang around the media room all that much. I go there. I get the information I need, and then I leave. I have a nice office that I can spend time in. I don't want to spend time at Allen Park more than I have to. The guys are great. They're professional, but I never get backlash, and I wouldn't care because I'm really, like I said, I really did think my thesis starting it was if I think it, I say it. I feel like overthinking things stifles creativity. And if someone approached me and said, "Hey, you said this," I'd be like, "Okay, I respect your point," but I try not to. I think that's why you guys like tuning into the chat. Is I try not to think a lot. I just spew it out there, and I deal with the consequences. And I think what it is that people know I'm a regular dude. I'm authentic, but I'm not trying to censor myself. Like I have a professional life outside of sports that's uber professional, and sports is my amped up outlet to live a boy's dream. It's fun. So what are you going to complain about? That I say that you're a little bit uppity or that you are boring and I don't want to hang out with you at the bar? Okay. I don't think it's that serious. I don't take it. And people will say, the biggest thing people would say about me is John is not serious. Well, it's sports, and I don't want to be serious. I'm having the time of my life, and I've been ultra successful doing it my way, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to be uncensored, unfiltered. If I think it, I'm going to say it, and that's just the way it's going to be. And I don't really care what anybody says because I run the operation. I'm the boss, so I can do whatever the hell I want.
We got 2 more questions, Doc. Malik, this, by the way, we had this yesterday, and it was controversial. Boone, he was fighting some people over it. But Malik says, Doc, are we underestimating this line's D-line, or are we justified in thinking it is not a strong group, regardless of depth?
Doc, I said the depth was good. I like the depth.
I'm going to take the diplomatic approach. Somewhere in the middle, I do think they got more to prove. They need to do more to be championship level. They're not bums. They're not just everyday guys. There's some talent there for sure, but they need to do more. And the skepticism is real in regards to you need more from Josh Pascal, from Levi, from Marcus. You need a lot more. And to be championship level, to see what the Eagles did, that's championship level. You have a step up to take. They are not they are the way I would grade the lines B, the defensive line is a B. They need to get to kind of A- to kind of be championship level. And you have to hope for a lot of good luck and development for that to happen. But it's a good group, not a great group.
We got this question, too, coming from William. Thank you for the $2, William. He says, is 6 sacks too much to ask for Tyleek?
Yeah, I would say that's going to be his development over the next couple of years is the pass rush. That's a little bit much. That would be if Aleem was there and healthy. That's not too much. But knowing that Aleem's going to be there for half the year, I would say the over-under should be 3 to 4. I think that, Tyleek Williams' pass rush moves are underrated, but he's going to need to do a little bit more to get in the backfield. His job is simple truth, stop the run and clog the middle, win your gap assignments. I don't see him getting into the backfield too much. I see him giving opportunities to others to get there.
Love it. Thank you, Doc. Listen, you crushed again this week. He's there every Wednesday. He's here. Crunch Time Sports, 8:45. We'll talk to you next Wednesday, Doc. Please follow him on social media at Detroit Podcast. Check out his page as well. He's doing great stuff, and his team. But we'll see you next Wednesday, Doc. Much love.
Thank you, guys. You guys are crushing it as well. I think of a thought. You guys are doing the videos. Great opinions. All 3 of you are giving the Detroit fans what they deserve. Great digital content. I love debating you guys and having a good time and being a part of the Detroit sports community. Thank you guys in the chat for hating me, loving me, and all that good stuff. But please check in with Lions on SI periodically, even in the downtimes. It's a fun way to interact. I look forward to this every week, and I can't wait for next time. See you guys.
There you go. The DOC.
Love you, Doc.
Much love to him, man. He's the GOAT.
We got horned down at least.
We got
yeah,
him, the Doc, Isaac, Teslaa, Amon Ra, and EQs, and that's a group right there. That's what that is. All right. Let's get to some of this real quick. J Rod says, have a safe and fabulous weekend. All smash a like button. Appreciate it, J Rod.
Shout out J Rod.
Shout out to him.
And then you got a comment right earlier. Klotz is right. NBA and NHL is not as big as NFL. Visionary Roar.
Well, that's a fact. I don't know if that's a Klotz is right. I think that's just a straight fact. I think he's probably talking about the playoffs, but I think that's.
Oh, that wasn't even my point. Who's bigger?
Yeah,
the fact that
I think that's
series.
Hey,
you heard him though. Klotz is right. You heard him.
Yeah.
Agree with what the man said. Donated money.
Hey, did you guys see the Knicks and
what's the score?
Pacers, the game?
Oh, what is the score? Because I have a comment after.
The Knicks are up
87-83, Boone. 127.
That's game 1.
Yes, game 1. 1 minute left in the third.
I've said it before. I wouldn't mind the Knicks winning, to be honest. I think I would love my ideal finals would be Knicks Timberwolves. I think that would be sick. There are some guys I was talking today with some people about it. The Timberwolves have a handful of players that I think probably deserve you have Joe Ingles, Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert.
He led with Joe Ingles.
Well, I was just thinking of the guys that were on like that Jazz team, Mike Conley, who was on that Grizzlies team, like just some dudes who just couldn't really like get it done in their career. That it's like they finally have a chance. Like I hope they figure a way out to do it. I do. Can I bring something up real quick? Did you guys see today Cade Cunningham?
Not Boone.
Seventh in MVP voting. ahead of Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, and a handful of other players. But he was 7th. He had, I think he had a handful of 5th place votes, and then he had 1 3rd place, and I think some 4th place as well. I don't know here. I can see if I can pull up the. Let me see if I can pull.
That's why I'm surprised he's in front of somebody like Ant too.
Well, he's tied with them, but I think he had more 3rd place votes than Ant, so it technically put him ahead. So he had the same amount of votes. If someone wants to share the screen there. All right,
Zoom in on that bad boy, Boone.
So obviously SGA wins it with 913. Jokic only a couple hundred behind, to be honest. It wasn't that. I guess SGA had a lot of first place votes. And then you have Giannis, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, LeBron, and then right after LeBron, Cade Cunningham with. Oh, so he had 1 4th place vote and 9 5th place votes.
I mean, I don't hate it.
And then you have after that, you have Anthony Edwards, Steph Curry, Brunson, Harden, and Evan Mobley getting a vote is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
But yeah, no, Cade's in that conversation now. People, I think the last couple days, and I think today, JB went on First Take and mentioned that Cade should be talked about as the future face of the NBA. And I think if you just look at this list, like, I think if you're a top 10 in MVP votings, that essentially puts you top 10 player in the NBA at the moment, right? Obviously, there's some players outside like Luka and stuff who aren't on this. So it's like interchangeable, but like he's in that conversation now. And if you're in that conversation, especially the age he is, you're going to be in that thought process of, hey, he could be the future of the league moving forward.
I mean, he got more votes than Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else to say about that. I really don't.
And Jalen Brunson.
Yep. I'm not. Are you guys mad that do you disagree with SG winning it? SGA?
No, I think personally, I think Jokic should have won it, but I think it's just giving it to a guy so many times. It's that voter fatigue. I mean, Jokic is the best player in the NBA by a mile. Like it's ridiculous what he does. He could have won MVP he should win it every year. He should have his 4th one this year, but I'm with it with SGA. Best team. 32 points on 60-win team is incredible.
Yeah, and I'm with you. SGA is probably the guy that you're going to hand it to if it's not Jokic. But I just hate that the face of the NBA for this year has to play basketball the way that SGA does. Like, I understand that he's a good player. I'm not denying that. But again, there's just some things about the NBA that I've grown to not like, and the play style that SGA has is one of them. So it's just annoying to me. But he's an elite player.
Yeah, he was my MVP. Me and my little brother get in arguments about it all the time.
I think it should be Jokic, but again, voter fatigue. You have to give it to. You can't give it to the same guy every year.
Yeah, LeBron happened to LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron should have like 7 of them, 8 of them, but it's whatever.
You hear that, Bron? You hear that, Lucas?
I know you think very highly of me, so I appreciate that comment. But yeah, MVPs are cool, but so are 6 rings, especially when you're undefeated in those. How about those playoff performances, huh?
Wait, what was the first word you said before performances?
Playoff performances.
My mic cut off and I couldn't hear you guys for about 2 minutes. Whatever was said, all I know is LeBron should have like 8 MVPs at the end of the day. He should have.
Notice I said playoff clock, by the way, real quick. At 40.
What matters?
I'm just saying. All right, we'll get out of here. Appreciate you all. Appreciate the doc. We'll be back tomorrow. I think Raj is joining tomorrow.
Castillo, baby.
Is he?
No, Chris Castellani's joining tomorrow.
Chris Castellani tomorrow.
Yep, we'll have Raj. We're going to have both of those guys on by the end of the week. So it'll be a good week. We got big things planned for the future. Big guests planned, by the way.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I forgot.
Hey. Wow. But until then, we'll catch you all.
Love you guys.